Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the award-winning Recovery Podcast, Get in the Herd, brought to you by the McShin Recovery Resource Foundation. Today on our special early morning, 10 a.m. early morning episode, we have two incredible women in recovery here today joining us. And so to my right, sort of my co-host slash boss slash sister from another mother slash good friend and now published author, the CEO of the McShin Foundation, Honesty Liller over here.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
I know, right? And then joining us through the magic of the interwebs, we have Caroline Beidler. Beidler, not Beidler, Beidler, joining us. And today she is soon to be a published author, which is awesome. And we're going to talk about that. But Caroline is coming to talk to us about global women's recovery and the the International Women's Day on March 8th, 2022, which is very exciting. And so welcome to the show, Caroline. Thank you for coming and joining us today. Tell us, what have you got going on?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I love your podcast. I love McShin. Seeing that intro video always brings me back to the first time I've learned about McShin, which was watching The Anonymous People. And so then the first time I met John, and I think, honestly, I'd run into at an event, I was like, I was trembling. I was shaking. I was so nervous because you all are like recovery rock stars to me. So anyways, I just feel like, you all are just this model across the nation and really globally for recovery support. So it's truly an honor to be talking with you all today. So I'd love to chat about the event, books, all of it. And honesty, I feel like we are sisters doing this recovery journey. I know it's kind of remotely. I follow you on social media, but I feel so connected to you and just to all the women out there doing this thing, because recovery advocacy and just our own personal recoveries, it's hard. And to do it in community is just such a beautiful experience. And I've tried to do recovery the other side of things, isolated, alone, not in a community, and it didn't work out so well. Wasn't able to maintain that. So now on the opposite side, that's a part of why I'm so passionate about bringing other women together, because I know the reverse side of it and how painful it is to not be a part of a community. So, hey, let's work on building community in today's world. So I'm really looking forward to talking with you more today about all sorts of things.
Yeah, community. First off, today is the day of love.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I love it.
Yes.
Every day is a day of love around here, though. But, the biggest thing for me, one of the biggest things about my recovery, I guess, is like being able to connect with other women like me, and being able to connect on a national level is so super cool. And, we met through, you asked me to do the Bright Story Shine. So we're going to put her website up throughout this podcast. So please check out that website. It has so many useful tools and resources, but also some very impactful stories as well. And, so that's where our relationship kind of started, and I threw that out there. And then from there has become an organic thing because you said the word community. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing, besides love. The second is like community, having a community of love and loving one another, across the board, because there can be so-called competition in this space, money, everybody, the money situation, or like differences of opinion. And the bottom line, I feel in my personal and professional careers, helping humans. Like my bracelet, you like my bracelet?
Oh,
Says,
yeah.
Love humans. I had a gift card for like 2 years for Nordstrom. I do not shop there, but God bless you. So I got this bracelet with it online. But being able to reach, first off, this podcast goes into 48 jails across the United States, as well as we have over 10,000 followers, McShins, and all the other outlets that we do. So it goes to a lot of people, and specifically the incarcerated population. It's important for us, to give them, we're hope dealers, give them glimpses of hope, while they're incarcerated. So hopefully they can acclimate into our community when they get out. We also have 3 jail actual recovery programs now. So COVID kind of kicked our butt. Now we're back in 2 more jails, but 3 total, trying to just help the men and women, try to succeed in life and not get reincarcerated. So I just like to throw that out there, that Justin works, our producer, very hard to upload all of these for the jail systems to put on the tablets. So shout out to Justin. We love Justin on Valentine's Day and every day.
That is just beautiful and so incredible. And I love that you bring up love. It is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. And, when I was single out there struggling, trying to find my way, I didn't like Valentine's Day, honestly, because I felt like there was all this pressure. You had to have all this love coming from outside of you. And you weren't, for me, I didn't feel value unless I had someone outside of me saying that. And what's beautiful about recovery, and you mentioned, recovery and community with other women, one of the things that's been so healing for me and what I've found is that love comes from inside of me, that I don't need those things externally outside of myself to give me that love. As a woman in recovery, I went down many roads of, I don't know how to phrase this on air, but bad relationships, unhealthy relationships, making poor choices when it came to, relationships with men and others, always seeking, and then my addiction, my substance use, always seeking something outside of myself to, fill that need in me. And I have found that peace in recovery. For me, that's a higher power, my relationship with God. And I talk a lot about that on my blog, Bright Story Shine. Just my pathway of recovery, and faith is a huge part of that. But yeah, it's wonderful that you're bringing this message of hope to places and to people who need it. We all need it. I still need it, even after over a decade in recovery. I need hope and that love that comes from recovery every day.
Yeah. And I think we do that very well here at the McShin Foundation, but also I think as us humans out in the world, recovery teaches us. I say this all the time here, everyone has their own little niche, I guess, around here, but recovery teaches us so much more than just not using drugs anymore. I mean, it's like that inner love. And, a lot of years in my recovery, I still did not love myself. I didn't feel like I was a good enough wife, a good enough mother, a CEO once that happened, like all these things that for women specifically, I mean, men have their stuff too, but women, like, you're supposed to do, right? So I've done a really good job of and I see you through social media and the things that you're doing, it's like unpacking what true love for yourself is. And I didn't know all that. And I was a hardcore 12-stepper. I came through McShin. I wouldn't be here with any of those. But the past 3 years, I've really dove in to really ripping apart of what I thought love truly was for myself. And now it's becoming, writing the book and everything is becoming more of a beautiful, organic, big pink flower, to be honest with you, because it's so much damage I've done to myself in recovery and through my addiction of just not loving myself, just not loving my body, just not loving and being grateful for the life that I have, throughout, my recovery. And then I just kind of had this, I call it an unspiritual awakening about 3 years ago, instead of a midlife crisis, because I am only 41. But I had that a few years ago, and it was a very dark, hard time, in my life, and it's in my book and stuff too. But it was okay, I'm in recovery. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I have all these responsibilities. People are looking up to me, but in my insides, I still couldn't look at myself with a sports bra and shorts or whatever, working out. Just I've had horrible body image since I was 8 or something. So I really had to change a lot of things about myself, and that was some inner healing that I had to do. Me and my husband went to marriage therapy, which helped out tremendously because we met in rehab 16 years ago. So our relationship, and again, read it all in my book, Scattered Pink. It's on Amazon. It's out on 2/22/22. But we really had to dive into a lot of childhood trauma, and how does your childhood trauma incorporate the parent that you are today, or the woman, man, or whatever, throughout your life? How does that affect? And I thought I worked through all of that stuff, in step work and stuff. And it was wait, maybe I didn't. And then like when we went to therapy and kind of, so it's like a beautiful thing to really love yourself. And I can
Mhm.
honestly say, like, some days I'm like, bitch, what'd you just say to myself? There are some days still like, what?
Mhm.
Wait, what? And but then it was like, making prompt amends. For example, really quick, at the dentist, orthodontist the other day, my son is 12 and has braces. The lady was like, "Did you do your COVID? The little, you got to do all this form." And I was already
Mhm.
irritated because my daughter had a major surgery and the medical bill came in. It was $162,000, which
Jeez.
my insurance was
Wow.
going to pay. I mean, it was, anyway, I'm going through all this battle with insurance, right? But this tells you
Mhm.
humans are humans. And I'm publicly admitting to what I did 2 days ago. So I got that,
Mhm.
drove him to the orthodontist. I'm thinking, is this ever going to go away? She will never be able to pay 160. I can't pay that. So anyway, so it's like the
Mhm.
things that we're supposed to give to God or whatever you believe in. It's like it was hard for me it's hard for me still when it comes to finances, I
Mm.
guess. And
Mm.
so she's like, "Did you fill out the COVID form?" I was like, "I don't know. Can't you check that?" And I was just the biggest like snobby bee. And like because I was so, I get angry when I am in fear. I get like anxiety,
Mhm.
and then all these other character defects come out. And so then I was really just short with the lady, and I sat there. My son was like, "Gosh," he was like, I don't know what he said exactly. He was like, "What's your
Mhm.
prob?" or something. And I don't know what he said, but I was like, damn, I just did that in front of my 12-year-old son. I was like, he is right. Am I
Mhm.
going to tell him he's right? No. But he went back, came back out when we were checking out. I looked at the lady. I said, "I am so sorry for being short with you." I said, I didn't even blame it that I had a lot going on. I own my shit, made prompt amends and showed my son how to do so, that we're imperfect humans, but we also
Mhm.
can, heal our pain and don't take it out on other people. And if you do, really truly mean it. And I touched the lady's arm and it was a whole thing. But it just
Mhm.
tells you, recovery and just being a decent human is like the things that we have to work on every single day. So I'm just telling you
Mhm.
here, the lady at Dr. Bird's office, she knows who she is, and and she was good with it, but I think it's like
Mhm.
important, as a parent to kind of like show our children, that we're imperfect as well,
Mhm. No,
How,
absolutely.
yeah, you have twins. So how does that work?
They are
Well,
adorable, by the way.
oh, thank you. Yes, Henrik and Violet. So they are my
Oh,
joys and
Henry.
my lights. I didn't get married till 36, so I had focused a lot of my career and stuff. And after getting sober, I went back to school, and all these wonderful things happened. They're just amazing. And motherhood, yes, has definitely challenged my recovery and brings out kind of some of those character defects, on a regular, I want to say, a daily, definitely basis.
Hmm.
But honestly, listening to you share a little bit reinforces to me just how the experience for women in recovery, we have like your beautiful image, your book Scattered Pink, with a beautiful pink flower on the cover. I just love that. But all the different petals, or pieces of our recovery stories, because mine also includes disordered eating and having issues with body image, and it includes experiences of sexual violence that are unique to women, and it includes being in very unhealthy relationships, and now motherhood and being a wife and all of these things. And one of the reasons I started Bright Story Shine, which is my blog, and started writing about my experience in recovery and just in life, is because I was needing myself to hear more women share about their own stories, like you just did. Share openly and honestly about your struggles and when those times come up. And I have something similar. I won't go into details, but my husband was here, he would laugh. I cannot order Chinese food, okay? And all I'm going to say, we live in a small town in Tennessee. There's a woman at the Chinese restaurant. I think she doesn't like me, or like she gets really annoyed with the way I order, but she's always like kind of going off, and we had a little altercation, and she's a very sweet woman, anyways. So I have those moments too. We all do, but it's just this experience that we have as women. And so I started Bright Story Shine because I myself wanted to hear more from other women about their experience, because when COVID started, honestly, I started struggling in my recovery, and I had to kind of go back to the basics, up my meetings, reach out for more support. I started doing a lot of virtual things, and I started giving back in new ways of like, reaching honesty when I reached out to you and encouraging other women, hey, let's get on this platform and let's start telling our stories. I started writing my book and all of these things because, and no offense to the fellas in the room, but, in a lot of spaces, especially on the national level, there's a lot of us out there doing all of the things. And usually that doesn't involve being kind of out there in the spotlight, getting a lot of attention for our recovery efforts and things like that, which is great. That's not why I do what I do. And at the same time, a lot of times those voices get lost, especially women of color. We don't see enough women in other diverse communities sharing about their experience. And that's one of the reasons why hopefully the Women's Global Recovery Roundtable will bring women from all across the board. Now it's going to be translated in 3 languages, y'all. I can't believe this. Live translated in Spanish and Portuguese, because there's such a huge number of women coming from Brazil specifically, and also other countries in Latin America. But, we need to be out there to share our stories for I believe I'm very single-minded focused, because we need to reduce the stigma around addiction recovery and other issues that women face, like, body image, like issues with insecurity. And, I've been told, you're too nice. I'm always trying to like make sure everyone's okay. The lady at the Chinese restaurant, I'm like obsessing. Why does she not like me? I'm trying to like.
Too nice. I was like, that's Nathan.
I'm too nice.
He's always focused on everybody else and helping everyone.
Well, there's a lot of positivity to being kind and empathic. I'm going to reframe that. Anyways, I'm kind of all over the board here, but there's so many issues that I think need to be highlighted when it comes to recovery, because I don't know if you all have seen the recent articles, the New York Times and other places. They're showing that rates for women for drinking specifically, and I'm sure other substances, are skyrocketing. And we know that along with addiction comes trauma, comes sexual violence, all of these things for women. So right now, women in our world are really struggling. And so we need to kind of step up, I believe, and really be more vocal and out there talking about these issues.
Mm-hmm. You got a question? What is March 8th, and how is that going to impact? If you just want to take a rundown, and again, we're going to put her website on, and you can register for this. Or can people still register for the free? It's a free event.
It's free.
You talk about that. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So March 8th is International Women's Day, you all. And I started talking, yes, I love it. I started talking to women across the country. This was probably about a year ago now, saying, hey, do you want to do something like this? Hey, what do you think about getting together? Hey, and I kept hearing the same thing over and over again. Yes. I feel like we don't have a seat at the table. Yes, let's do this. So what we've all created together, and I've been kind of in the lead planning role. I'm pretty type A, so I love, like the nitty gritty, detail-y type stuff. So I'm having a good time doing it. But, the main purpose of the event is to come together around a virtual table and highlight women's recovery. So we have over 30 speakers, you all, so around a virtual table sharing, little snippets of what's important to them, their own pieces of their own story, what they're doing in their community, in their local community, in their country. And it's really just going to be this beautiful celebration. And I wanted to make sure it's completely free. It's free to partner. Really, you can still be a partner organization if you'd like. Just commit to sharing with your networks. It's just hopefully going to be a time where we can really highlight and celebrate and shine a light on women's recovery issues. So registration will be open, I believe, until the 1st of March. So if you all need to sign up, you need to do that quickly. There is a limited space. So, Zoom only, can handle how many people. So if you all want to register, do that soon. I would love to have it available. I don't know if there's a way to connect with some of the jails that you work with, but I think, for anyone, it would be a very positive, beneficial thing to listen to, whether you're, a behavioral health provider or a person in or even seeking recovery.
Yeah, I don't know if we can get it live streamed with the jails, but maybe there's a way for us to record it, or if you have a recording afterwards, we can upload it to our, with your permission, I guess we could
I think we could probably make something like that happen, kind of like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
just, facing a camera on we could definitely make something happen.
Yeah, we would probably
Okay,
just get
great.
you to sign like a permission since it's not McShin owned or anything. But that would be so
Mhm.
radical for
Well,
these women.
and we could break it up because it's
Mhm.
4 hours, I think, isn't it? 2 to 6.
It
And
is.
we
It
could.
will be the
Mhm.
first portion will be speakers, and then the
Mhm.
last 45 minutes or so will be a breakout session. So really, it would be about 3 hours sharing, video.
Yeah. And she's got some awesome speakers. And again, I know a lot of them, but some I don't. So I'm
Mhm.
super excited. We're going to get our females in our program house to watch it. So that's like
Nice.
12. Our sober living, a lot of them work. So that's going to be a little, but we're
Mhm.
sharing it all over. I paid actually for what is that called? Because you got to pay for all those boosts now. So
Okay.
we have it through Instagram and through Facebook. We're promoting it on our end. And then Nathan does the beautiful newsletter. Gosh, I
Nice.
can't tell you how much I love that. So we're promoting it every way that we can, and I'll promote it more throughout this as well. And we'll put the link in the description of this podcast, maybe
Right.
too.
Right. Actually, yeah, we can go back and change that because I didn't put that in this morning. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So I love what you're doing. I have 2 questions. First,
Mhm.
do you see this as an annual event moving forward?
I hope so. We'll kind of see what develops from
One
this.
day at a
I'm
time,
really
right?
Exactly. Yes, one day at a time, one event at a time. So I think after March 8th, I might take a little break from event planning. But hopefully, if women are interested again in next year, I've learned a lot through this process, kind of streamline it. Hopefully for next year. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
And I guess the next question I have is there something in there if say if a man wants to watch, is it something
Mhm.
that we would be able we would learn from? Would we obviously want to stay silent and not participate, or what would our role be in this, if any? And understanding that I don't know what to say actually. Yeah.
So I feel like for me as a woman, obviously, yes, it's going to be beautiful, amazing, uplifting, empowering, but there's so many men and transgender, every human can benefit from another human story. I
Sure.
don't care what they've been through or what, even my book, everybody's like, well, what, and we'll talk about the book next too, but to give you some tips and me some tips, but it's pink, it's girly, I guess, per se, but also in reality, I know I've met so many men that have had body dysmorphia or childhood trauma, or just don't like the human that they are, or marriage, situations. And I know a lot of men, throughout this, a lot of my close friends, like the vulnerability piece, like as a man, even I can even speak on my own husband, like he's a hard West Virginia boy, and like, being able to go to therapy together and grow as a unit, and unpack and move the layers like Shrek. He is kind of like Shrek. We move those layers for the both of us. It's like so many men, even me and him are really close. Out of most of my staff, I feel like, it just is what it is. We have this connection. And because it's that vulnerability connection that he can trust me and I can trust him with some very interesting things that men go through, just like women. So I feel like men can read my book for sure, but it's definitely going to resonate more with women just because it's some serious stuff in there. But I think this event, I think we should get our men to watch it too, because it also opens, I feel, the eyes of men to what women really go through, even though they think they know what we go through. Like really hearing women's stories, it's just impactful, because I know from my own relationship, the stuff that I got to, and I still do, talk to my husband about very vulnerable stuff that has happened through my addiction, childhood, whatever, is like made him really be open-minded to why I do have certain tendencies. So it's been a really cool process. It's been hard as shit. It's been hard.
We can say that word.
Okay, this is hard. Like doing therapy and like really diving into your soul with your partner. It is hard, but it's also beautiful. So I think men will get a different perspective on women too. I think it would be important for the men to watch it, but that's up to
as
y'all.
a man, I'll say, like, there's always something to learn.
Yeah.
Always something to learn.
Absolutely.
And vice versa, you know.
And I've had several men reach out to me and other folks saying, you know, hey, I'm non-binary. Is this event for me? And I just have to say the same thing. It's like all are welcome. You know, just like I would expect a recovery space to be welcoming and inclusive of all genders, non-genders, all y'all, right? So I really hope that anyone can feel like they can attend the event. And, you know, in terms of promotion, it may feel a little more directed towards women. And I struggled with that at first, honestly, because I was like, is this too exclusive? You know, am I excluding too many people? But I think sometimes in being hyper focused on not wanting to exclude people, we actually don't include our own thoughts, feelings, stories. And kind of going back to, you know, I talk a lot about my faith on my blog, but honestly, for a long time, I struggled with sharing about my recovery pathway of faith. I identify as a Christian. And I know when I say that, sometimes people are like, oh, well, you know, I'm sorry. But one of the reasons I share about it is because that's been my experience and my story. And I found so much healing there. But again, I've been afraid to talk about it because I don't want to exclude anyone. Yet I know so many people who've had that experience, whether they, you know, identify as a Christian, are going to church, not going to church. A lot of us have had issues with church. I do a lot of writing about that experience, you know, in my book, actually. But, you know, I think it goes back to just that being vulnerable and sharing. And one of the things I've learned in planning this event, I've really been working closely with a couple ladies who work for the Hispanic and Latino Addiction Technology Transfer Center. Let me tell you, I had no idea there was such a thing before planning this event. It is,
long
isn't
title.
it? But they do so much work around language accessibility and promoting recovery in Latinx spaces. And one of the things I've learned from them a little bit, they may share more on this, but the concept of machismo, have you heard of this? But within Latin communities, it's this concept, and I don't know much about it, but kind of this unhealthy way that a lot of times folks who identify as male operate in their culture. And I'm learning more about this and how this impacts women's recovery in Latina spaces, you know? So there are all these like issues that are just interwoven that I think getting them out on the table. So having men attend the event, I think will be really helpful because, hey, this is just another opportunity for us to get radically vulnerable, which is something that I think recovery brings to the world, is the benefit and the positivity of just getting it all out there. You know, like, let's just lay it on the table so we can move past this and heal. And that's been my own experience. And hopefully this event can be that for other women and men and everyone out there on March 8th.
That's beautiful. Caroline and Honesty, we want to take a moment to pause here. We're going to go into a commercial break right now. When we get back, though, I'd love to pivot and talk about the books that you both, that I know you've got coming out, in just days, 2/22/22. I think it's beautiful. So with that, we'll go to commercial and we'll be back in, I don't know, 90 seconds or so. Okay. Thank you.
Great.
Here at McShin, we believe in the McShin way, which is authentic recovery support service providers, people with lived experience, bringing that experience to those who need that lived experience in recovery.
Here at McShin, we believe in many things to support our mission. We believe in women empowerment.
What I love most about what we believe here at McShin is we believe in the authenticity of the peer-to-peer approach.
Here at the McShin Foundation, we believe in giving people opportunity.
Here at McShin, we believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every person.
At the McShin Foundation, we believe in helping people reach their full potential.
Here at the McShin Foundation, we believe in multiple pathways to recovery.
Here at McShin, we believe in placing principles before personalities to help spread hope.
Here at McShin, we believe that recovery is possible and that any person seeking recovery can become a more acceptable, responsible, and productive member of society.
Here at the McShin Foundation, we believe in self-discovery.
Here at McShin, we believe in saving lives and offering second chances.
Here at McShin, we believe you can do this.
Here at McShin Foundation, we believe that we can only keep what we have by giving away, which is why we continue to help others like us seek and find recovery.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Get in the Herd. And welcome back, Caroline. It's good to see you. And Honesty, always good to see you. We were talking before the break about the global women's roundtable, and one thing we were talking about men and participation with that, and I wanted to actually follow up with what you were saying, because the importance of having safe spaces, inclusive spaces, but safe spaces for people who may not be comfortable. Well, I'll just put it right out there. So when I was in early recovery, I went to my first LGBTQ plus specific 12-step meeting. And I was really grateful, as a person in recovery who identifies as gay and has, for decades, and has learned through my recovery that the acceptance piece really, it wasn't fully, is still not fully there. And going to that meeting was pretty profound, thinking, oh, cool, there's meetings for people like me. And then I walked into that meeting, and it was a celebration for a straight man who had a straight speaker talking about very specific straight issues. I didn't feel excluded, but I didn't feel that warm blanket of safety and, oh, come join us. We can talk about our shared experience and the traumas and things that are specific to the LGBTQ. I mean, especially, specifically the gay men's population, and have that safe place. So I haven't been back to that meeting since, and that was like 4 years ago. I have found other meetings and other outlets, and I actually, I work on that. And it was a good lesson for me in that respect, because I understand why it's important sometimes to step back and recognize that this isn't about me. I want to be a part of, but I also don't want to be a part of. I don't want to be in a space that makes somebody else not feel safe. Not because of me personally. I've learned that too. I mean, actually, I've learned that through urine screens. It's a whole nother story. As a gay man doing a urine screen on other men, some inherent issues can come up with that. So I've learned that it's not always about me, and I need to step back. So, I hope that if you're a guy and you're listening and you're thinking about joining this, that you'll think about that, being in those spaces, that we want to make sure that these are honest, safe spaces for women to explore and share experience and not feel, constricted.
Thank you for sharing that and just being so open, and vulnerable about your own experience. And I think that really speaks to, again, this idea that, yes, it's important to be inclusive and be welcoming for everyone. And at the same time, it's okay that sometimes, we connect with folks who have that common ground with us, like my, mentor in recovery and other women that have helped support me have been women, and have had a lot of similar experiences as me. And I can connect with that. And I think that's a beautiful thing about recovery, is we recognize, that we all can really benefit when we connect with other women who have shared experiences, similar interests, goals, honesty. Speaking of the writing piece, I think that's one of the reasons why I connect so much with you and have just really enjoyed following your journey. And when you posted that your book was coming out, I think you had a video on Instagram and Facebook, I was just so excited for you, because I know, having going through that process, the work that is involved, the jumping over that self-doubt. And, I still struggle with it sometimes. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I feel like God is calling me to this on the one hand. On the other hand, I'm like, what do I have to say that anyone really will benefit from? So it's just that back and forth. So anyways, I really look forward to reading your book. I know it's on pre-order now, and hopefully we'll be joining you and doing my little, cover reveal soon here too as well, once my book is out there.
I like the idea of a cover reveal.
Yeah,
that sounds like
did
fun.
That. Yeah, well, and I think like I can resonate with everything you just said, because in the reality of it was, what do people care, and like what, it's like that low self-esteem, or like not feeling good enough, and imposter syndrome. I know me and you've talked about that a lot. And I think the reality of it is, if they buy it, they buy it. They don't, is how I'm looking at it, because I have a full-time job. I have children. My life is pretty fulfilling as it is. I feel, and I was just talking to one of my close friends. Actually, he's buying 100 books. I would give him a shout out, but I don't want people to be hating. But so he's going to get 100 books for his organization today. And, I think, but we were talking about, like, in this realm, right? The addiction recovery, a lot of it is about, don't do drugs, or, you get your life back and all that beautiful stuff. But in the there's so much more that humans go through on a day-to-day, like what your story you just shared, like on a day-to-day basis though. And like, that's what I want this book to help other women, not just those addicted, because about 3 years ago, I really started diving into some positive women on Instagram, like body conscious, body freedom, just like using your voice, but using it in a somewhat elegant way, but very assertive, owning who you are as a human on this planet. Because I'm just they always hear me say, we have this one body, one life, and it's like, we have to live it to the best of our ability. And for me, that's creating a book that is a super quick read. It is very traumatic, but beautiful, very honest, vulnerable, take on my life, but also hopefully it'll help other women that not necessarily are addicted, but have had struggles. Like, I struggled with so many stuff for so many years. It was just such a painful process, but also like the time that I spent on, it is my belly jiggling in this shirt, like as low as just as little as something like that was huge for me, and now it's like, I'm very healthy. I love to work out. I love my body. It created 2 humans. My husband adores me. So what the hell else do I care? What else is there? You know what I mean? And I couldn't say that like 3 or 2 years ago, really. And until I really dove in, and then I wrote this book, and that was another whole spiritual healing, which, writing your story, telling your story at a meeting or even the event that you're hosting. I mean, that's one thing, it's a beautiful experience, but really being by yourself. I put my beats on, I listened to ocean music, and I just typed, and it's like, I'm crying, and it's like, it's a very emotional, but like really getting, because I'm trying to get him to write one, but to get it out on paper to the world, that's some vulnerable stuff. I mean, it really is. And the reality of it is I hope I can help other humans out there to try to make this world just a little bit more of a better place. Because imagine all the time I could speak on my body image stuff like I spent, that I could have been spending doing beautiful work or focusing on, like, I have to be my happiest in order to run this organization, but also be the mom, the wife, the PTA, all these committees I'm on and everything. Like, if I'm literally in my skin squirming, I can't focus on, what I'm doing as a human in that moment. So that's what this story is about. And Scattered Pink is a super cool. We'll get into that next week when we talk about the book, but
that's this week.
Is that this week?
On the 17th.
Holy.
I know.
Well, definitely have to turn it. tune in for that. And, one of the things actually in beginning this writing journey, really when COVID started, I did a little bit of research on actual, the process of writing and creativity. And there's actually, smart people with a lot of degrees behind their name who say that the actual process of writing helps heal trauma and helps kind of rewire those parts of the brain that have been affected. And I found that process too, honesty. It's like a part of me is like, you know what, if no one reads this, or if, a couple people read it, just the act in and of itself for me personally has been so healing. I do trust that someone will benefit from it. And I know countless women will benefit from your book. But I advocate writing, sharing, storytelling, like what we'll do at the event on March 8th, any type of creative process to get some of that out there, sharing in a meeting. I mean, that's a creative act, when you're telling your story, when you're verbalizing what's going on internally. All of these things are healing for us. So I would love to see more, recovery memoirs and different books out there. And at least from what my agent has said, apparently since COVID started, the number of people writing specifically about their recovery journey is increasing. And I truly believe, I'll go back to that faith piece just a little bit, but that God maybe is calling a lot of us to do that right now because, the world is hurting and we need more hope.
Gosh, I love that. Like the world is hurt to hope. And I think also because you're going to have haters, right? I am a realist. Everyone knows me around here. Like you're going to have people like, why is this bitch writing a book? And that's like the stuff that, kept me from writing it. And y'all know what I'm talking about. Let's get real, but the reality of all of that too. And that's what really, kept me hesitant because I wrote the outline. Mine's chronological, blah, blah, blah. But I wrote the outline and my husband, to be frank with you, after like a year or so talking about it, he looked at me and he said, just effing write the book. I mean, that's what happened. So and God put so many people in my life. Like it was a God thing. It was just this meeting I kept going to. So this editor, she owns her own publishing. And it was like, she worked out payments with me. So it just worked out beautifully. It is hard, but it worked out. And, I think putting yourself out, why not? Like, why not? And if people think you suck or you're a horrible person for what's in the book or whatever, I mean, that's on them. That's between them and their higher power, right? That's not my situation. And the two people that read it was my husband, because there's very deep stuff in there that a lot of people don't know, and my daughter that's now 20. So when they gave me the approval to yes, take this to the world, that's like really when a lot of Ryan Hampton told me from the beginning, writing the book is one thing. The hardest part is getting the book out there. And then it's just take advantage of the beautifulness of writing the book. And then now it's super hard, from that, but that was his thing. I'm going to do whatever I can, but I follow Anna David is another woman that I promote all the time. I met her through Ryan Hampton, through Mobilize a few years ago. And just, she's amazing. And all of her stuff is most of her stuff, all of her podcasts, everything is free. That's something to look into. I know you asked for tips and stuff for your book, but she is has her own publishing company. She just celebrated 20 years in recovery. She's got 8 books out there and New York Times bestseller. So she's amazing. But I just dove into free stuff. I mean, I don't have the money. I got a family and I just dove into whatever I could find for free, and then just started taking notes. And then took the time, put on my beats. I have to have the ocean music. It's something about me and the ocean, and I have the ocean. And then I break down all my notes to my to-dos and what I need to do. And, and it's kind of coming together on what it's going to be. I've reached out to some celebrities, man. I mean, what the hell? All they can say is no, or, just celebrities that I admire, specifically women, and the things, the struggles that they're open about and stuff. And then some people in recovery that are celebrities as well. My housewives, all of that. So, and again, everyone can just say no, right? So, or,
exactly.
Whatever. So then we just try, right?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? You never know.
So do you have a title of your book? Or you're not revealing that yet?
Yeah, that's a little hush-hush right now. So we have to wait on that. But but I'm excited it will be out there. And I also do some blogging for the Grit and Grace Project. I'm a team writer for them, the Grit and Grace Project. It's an amazing website for women, has a ton of encouraging articles. I actually have my bracelet on today. It says Grit. So it reminds me, I had to wear it today for my interview with you all so I can, have courage and step out there. And I also write regularly for In the Rooms as well. So, so you can check me out in some of those places too.
Cool.
The Grit and Grace Project. I've never heard of the project, but I've heard the grit and grace as an expression. Does that come from literature that I don't remember? Someone used it. Another woman in recovery used that a few months ago, and I actually wrote it on my board. I have a whole bunch of things on my board, and I wrote that. And now, yeah,
that's really neat. Well, I'm not sure. I know that the topic is really popular. So it was funny. One night I was laying in bed, and sometimes this happens. I kind of have my quiet, devotional reading time before bed, and I just couldn't get the phrase grit and faith out of my mind. And I'm just like, it kept going over and over. And I'm like, well, this, should the title of my book be something about grit and faith? So anyways, I Googled it. Well, and I came upon this women's blog called the Grit and Grace Project, and they were accepting submissions for articles. And I was like, So I just I'm just, I'll just see, and I had never had anything published before like that. And they immediately reached back out and said, hey, we love this. We want to publish it. Will you be a team writer? And I was like, oh my gosh. So they really helped encourage me. And so now I'm a part of this women's community of other writers, and I write regularly for them. So I'm not sure where the name came from, but I know that those two concepts in my life are foundational, having grit and the strength to get through life's hardships and hard times and all of the things that all of us have been through in our recovery stories, and then the grace and just that gift of healing and blessing and beauty. I mean, you mentioned my twins, all of these things that are just, I feel like these acts of grace that I have in my life now that, when I was 14 and really struggling, if someone would have come to me and said, hey, here's a picture of your life when I'm going to be 40 in a couple weeks, y'all. Okay.
Woo-hoo.
But here's your life at 40. I would have just fallen over. I mean, there's no way I would have believed anyone. I didn't know I was going to live past to 30. I didn't think I would. So anyways, it's a gift. It's a grit and grace life. And but please check them out too. They're just phenomenal ladies and great stuff over there.
Cool. I'll follow them. Are they on Instagram too, or just Facebook?
Yeah. Instagram too.
Awesome.
I don't have an Instagram account. I'm past 40.
So I'm 41. I rock my Insta.
Well, good for you.
Good for you. Well, yeah, I probably should. I mean, I did at one point. Yeah.
I love Instagram.
No, I didn't mean that disparaging. I just meant I don't even know how to. You'll have to show me how to start.
Oh yeah, I can hook you up.
There you go. 40 is the extra large birthday. Are you familiar with the XL? It's in Roman numerals. 40 is XL, so it's 40 is the extra large birthday. And I'm 45, so I did
so
this.
I've been through it.
I have been through it. I'm only admitting to 40. You're feeling empowered?
Yeah.
I am. It's like, I think as women too, we're just like, I'm bombarded. I got an email from a dermatology clinic, for a sale on Botox. And I was like, what? How did they find me? How did they know that I was like, do I need Botox now? I mean, the other day, my daughter's like, Mom, what are those squiggly lines on your forehead? I'm like, oh my God.
I have the two in the middle.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden.
Mommy line.
It's like all of a sudden. But anyways, there's a lot of pressure that gets put on women as we age. But I'm trying to embrace, I'm trying to tell myself no, I don't need those shots. And no, let's embrace this, because I feel more me than I've ever felt. And I feel more kind of bold to just be myself. And, so anyways, I think it's going to be beautiful. 40 is the new 30, from what I've heard anyways. So anyways, I'm going to embrace this time, but yeah, celebrate along with me on social media. I danced last year for my 39th because I was almost 40. So we'll see what I post in a couple weeks. You'll have to check it out.
I loved it.
I danced last night at the halftime show. They celebrated. They snuck out Fitty. He was upside down.
That was actually a really good show.
That was amazing.
That was a really good show.
And I just had my dogs because my son and my husband were at their friend's house. I went there to eat, and then I went home with the dogs. And then my dogs, because I was screaming, so I put it on my stories on Insta. But then they were barking, and I was like, "Yeah, y'all are barking for Snoop Dogg." Anyway, I love it. It was so
brought
good.
back so many memories.
So many memories.
Like, woo, man,
Well,
some good times.
Yeah, most of the memories were getting high and getting drunk after all those songs. But now, I mean, I did drugs so much, but now it's like that's all pretty much Tina Turner and hip hop is pretty much all my playlists for.
Was Tina Turner on last night?
No. But I was rocking her this morning while I was lifting weights. I love me some Tina. She's one of my all-time faves. She's my jam.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, that I love embarrassing my children too, so that's fun. But well, cool. Well, I guess the biggest thing is thank you for being such a beautiful, voice in the world and face and everything for the women recovery movement. We need more women coming out and sharing their stories, so I'm excited about the 8th. We're going to get snacks and stuff for our program house. I already let Dixie and Monique know. So we'll live stream that from our program house, and I'll be here watching it. But yeah, so good luck, and just let me know of anything. I mean, I'll help you the best I can with your book. I mean, I'm just kind of trial and error, just seeing what works and doesn't. Ryan's going to help me a bunch. I'm doing a Zoom with him today, but
oh, nice. Anything I can do to support you too. I mean, I would love to get, something up on my website, and we can talk about that a little bit, but I would love to support your work too.
Yeah. Women supporting women. Hashtag.
That's
on Insta.
Yes.
That's on hashtag on Insta.
Insta. You got to use them tags, Sha.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. And congratulations again on all the hard work. And you have a phenomenal featured speaker right here in Honesty Liller. So I'm eager to listen in and partake as well. So thank you for joining us, Caroline Beidler. And thank you, Honesty, for being here with us. And Justin, as always, we will see you tomorrow for, wait for it. Tomorrow I'm going to step back. Testify Tuesday. So tomorrow we'll have Walt on the show testifying. And actually tomorrow he's got a pretty heavy topic. So tomorrow should be a pretty awesome show. There's going to be a lot of talk. And then Thursday we have Honesty back here in the show. Honesty's going to be talking about her new book. What's it called? Scattered Pink, something like that? Scattered Pink.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about that exclusively, getting ready for the launch on 2/22/22, which is very exciting. And from there, we're going to see how the rest of the month plays out. We've got a good full month, the rest of the month for you. So, again, thank you, Caroline, for joining us, and good luck with everything. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye. I'll see you soon.
Bye.